The dying worlds, the Kalari system burns under the relentless assault of the destroyer fleet. On the planet Kilos Prime, Elder Mira leads the last survivors into underground shelters as plasma bombardment turns their cities into glass craters. The peaceful Kalari, a species of gentle farmers and artists, never built weapons capable of stopping this mechanical nightmare. Their calls for help echo through space, but no one answers. The galaxy has learned that challenging the destroyers means extinction, the mechanical horror. The destroyer fleet consists of massive automated warships built by a long-dead race that programmed them with a single directive: eliminate all organic life in the galaxy. For 300 years, these machines have swept across star systems, turning thriving worlds into lifeless rocks. Captain Rex, the lead Kalari defense coordinator, watches helplessly as his patrol ships disintegrate against destroyer shields. Their energy weapons barely scratch the mechanical monsters' hulls. The pattern of death across the galaxy. Dozens of species face the same fate. The insectoid Vrix huddle in their hive cities as destroyer drones methodically exterminate their colonies. The aquatic Na abandon their ocean worlds as mechanical harvesters poison their seas. The silicon-based Korth watch their crystal cities shatter under relentless bombardment. Each species sends desperate pleas through hyperspace communication networks, begging for military assistance that never comes. The Council's cowardice. The Galactic Alliance Council meets in emergency session on the heavily defended fortress world of Central Prime. President Dex, leader of the powerful Helix Empire, refuses to authorize military intervention against the destroyers. "We cannot risk our fleets," he declares to the assembled delegates. The survival of our core worlds takes priority over defending periphery species. The vote passes overwhelmingly. The Alliance will protect only its founding members while lesser species face extinction. Alone. Abandoned Hope Commander. Vale of the Kalari Defense Force sends one final transmission before the last communication array falls to destroyer assault. This is Kilos Prime to any ships receiving this message. We are dying. Our children hide in caves while machines burn our world. If anyone can hear this, please remember that we tried to be good neighbors to the galaxy. We die with honor, but we die alone. The message travels through space, carrying the despair of a species facing extinction. The silent watchers unknown to the dying worlds. Their calls for help reach ears that the galaxy forgot existed. Deep in the outer rim, on a small blue world called Earth, Admiral Stone monitors the distress signals from his command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. Humanity withdrew from galactic affairs 50 years ago after the Alliance branded them as too violent for civilized space. The other species demanded that humans control their aggressive tendencies or face expulsion from galactic society. The exiles' preparation during their 50 years of isolation. Humans never stopped preparing for war. General Park oversees the construction of the Sol Defense Grid, a network of orbital weapons platforms that could defend against any known threat. Dr. Bell leads research teams, developing new military technologies in secret laboratories scattered across Earth's solar system. Colonel West trains soldiers in tactics, specifically designed to fight the mechanical horrors that other species fear to face. The debate president, Hayes, calls an emergency meeting of Earth's military leadership as Kalari distress. Signals flood human communication networks. The debate is fierce, but brief. Secretary Adams argues for caution. The galaxy expelled us for being too warlike. If we intervene now, we prove their point. Admiral Stone counters. The galaxy is dying while we debate philosophy. If we don't act, there won't be anyone left to judge us. The vote is unanimous, despite the heated debate. Earth will answer the calls for help that the galaxy ignores. Major Ford begins mobilizing the fleets that have waited in hidden bases throughout the Outer Rim. Captain Morris activates sleeper cells of human operatives embedded in Alliance space. The species that the galaxy considers too dangerous for civilized society prepares to demonstrate why violence sometimes serves the cause of justice. Preparation as destroyer fleets continue their methodical extermination of defenseless worlds. Humanity makes final preparations for Operation Thunder. Lieutenant Blake coordinates with human colonies established in secret throughout the galaxy. These outposts, dismissed by aliens as primitive trading posts, reveal themselves as fully equipped military bases. The humans the galaxy thought were scattered merchants and miners are actually a hidden army waiting for orders. The Promise Admiral Stone records a message that will be transmitted to every dying world in destroyer-controlled space. This is Admiral Stone of the Human Defense Fleet. Your calls for help have been heard. We know the galaxy abandoned you, but we will not. Hold on for just a little longer. Help is coming, and it carries the thunder of human war machines. The age of silence ends now. The march to war, as Part 1 concludes, massive human fleets begin emerging from hidden bases throughout the galaxy. The species that waited in silence for salvation will soon hear the roar of humanity's war engines. The galaxy expelled humans for being too violent, but the dying worlds are about to learn that sometimes violence is the only voice that monsters understand. Asterisk. The fleet emerges. The first sign of humanity's return appears in the Kalari system as massive shapes drop out of hyperspace near Kilos Prime, Admiral Stone's flagship. Vengeance leads a battle group of 200 human warships, their hulls scarred by decades of preparation for this exact moment. The destroyer fleet, detecting the new arrivals, turns from their bombardment of the planet to face what they calculate as another group of organics to be eliminated. First, contact with death. Destroyers open fire with weapons that have obliterated countless fleets, but human shields absorb the energy blasts without wavering. Captain Ross, commanding the heavy cruiser Defiance, watches enemy fire splash harmlessly against his ship's defensive barriers. 50 years of preparation, he tells his crew. Time to show these machines what humans learned while the galaxy slept. The Vengeance returns fire with weapons that punch through destroyer armor like paper. The art of war human. Tactics prove devastating against enemies that have never faced adaptive opponents. Colonel Davis leads fighter squadrons that exploit weaknesses in destroyer defensive patterns, diving through gaps that mechanical minds cannot anticipate. The automated ships, programmed to fight predictable alien formations, struggle against human pilots who change tactics mid-battle and coordinate with chaotic precision that confuses artificial intelligence. Systems. Rescue operations while the main fleet engages destroyer ships. Specialized human rescue teams execute precision operations to save survivors. Major Kim leads assault transports down to Kilos Prime's surface, her Marines cutting through destroyer ground forces with weapons designed specifically to destroy mechanical opponents. The Kalari survivors, who expected to die in their caves, instead see human soldiers emerging from the smoke like avenging angels. The mechanical response, the destroyer fleet adapts quickly to human tactics, deploying reserve units from nearby systems to overwhelm the human force through sheer numbers. Admiral Stone faces a swarm of 500 mechanical warships converging on his position. The odds appear hopeless, but human military doctrine never relied on fair fights. All units, Stone orders, execute Protocol 7. Show them what we built in the dark. Hidden reinforcements. Space around Kilos Prime erupts with new arrivals as human fleets emerge from concealed positions throughout the system. General Park's dreadnoughts, hidden in the asteroid belt for 3 months, decloak with weapons already charged. Captain Lee's stealth destroyers reveal themselves inside the destroyer formation, launching devastating close-range attacks. The mechanical fleet finds itself surrounded by enemies that appeared from nowhere, superior technology human. Weapons technology, developed during 50 years of isolation, proves superior to anything the destroyers have encountered. Dr. Bell's quantum torpedoes phase through destroyer shields to detonate inside enemy hulls. Energy beams that manipulate molecular bonds tear mechanical ships apart at the atomic level. The machines that seemed invincible against conventional weapons crumble before human innovation driven by righteous fury. The Kalari awakening elder, Mira, emerges from the underground shelters to witness the impossible. The destroyer fleet that had terrorized her system for months lies scattered in burning wreckage. Human ships orbit Kilos Prime like protective guardians while rescue shuttles ferry survivors to safety. She speaks into her communication device with trembling voice. This is Kilos Prime to all Kalari colonies. The destroyers are gone. The humans came. The humans saved us. Ripple effects. News of humanity's intervention spreads across the galaxy at light speed. On the Vrix homeworld, Queen Tix receives impossible reports of destroyer fleets retreating from human forces. The aquatic Na'al detect human ships entering their system, just as mechanical harvesters prepared for final bombardment. Across dozens of worlds, species facing extinction suddenly hear the thunder of human weapons driving their tormentors away. Alliance panic. Galactic Alliance Council convenes an emergency session as reports flood in of human military actions across the galaxy. President Dex struggles to comprehend the scale of human operations. How many ships do they have? He demands of his intelligence chief. The answer terrifies him. Sir, our estimates suggest they've been building fleets for 50 years. They may have more warships than the rest of the galaxy. Combined, the hunt begins. Admiral Stone coordinates with fleet commanders across the galaxy as humanity launches the largest military operation in galactic history. The mission parameters are simple. Locate every destroyer fleet and destroy them completely. Lieutenant Commander Beck tracks mechanical movements through hyperspace routes, coordinating ambushes that trap entire destroyer fleets between converging human forces. Overwhelming. Response. What began as rescue operations becomes systematic extermination as human forces pursue destroyer fleets with relentless efficiency. The machines that terrorized the galaxy for 3 centuries discover that humanity fights with mechanical precision, combined with organic adaptability. Every engagement ends the same way, scattered mechanical wreckage drifting in space while human ships move on to the next target. The promise kept as Part 2 ends. The thunder of human war machines echoes across the galaxy. The species that waited in silence for help find themselves protected by guardians they never expected. The destroyers, for the first time in 300 years, face an enemy that hunts them instead of fleeing. Humanity has returned to galactic affairs with a simple message. Those who prey on the innocent will face the roar of human fury. The age of silent suffering is ending. The age of human protection has begun. Asterisk systematic extermination. 3 weeks after the first intervention, humanity's campaign against the destroyers reaches systematic perfection. Admiral Stone coordinates simultaneous attacks on 47 destroyer fleets from his mobile command center, the massive battleship Liberty. Human forces have refined their tactics through constant combat, turning each engagement into a masterpiece of military precision. The machines that once seemed invincible now flee at the first sign of human ships approaching. The hunter becomes hunted. Captain Torres leads the Deep Strike Fleet, Vengeance Wing in pursuit of destroyer forces retreating toward the galactic rim. The mechanical ships that once moved with predatory confidence now exhibit behavior patterns that human psychologists recognize as desperation. Dr. Martinez, analyzing enemy communications from aboard the research vessel Discovery, reports that destroyer artificial intelligence is developing, something resembling fear as they encounter human tactics they cannot counter. Technological supremacy. Human weapons continue to evolve during combat, as field commanders adapt to enemy responses. Commander Zhang deploys the latest innovation, nanomachine swarms that disassemble, destroyer hulls at the molecular level while converting the material into more nanomachines. The mechanical enemies face weapons that turn their own mass against them, creating exponentially growing clouds of destruction that consume entire fleets within hours. Galactic liberation. The liberation of oppressed worlds continues across the galaxy as human forces arrive to find destroyer fleets already retreating. On the crystal world of Korth Prime, President Rex witnesses human marines landing to secure evacuation sites for his people. The silicon-based beings, who communicate through harmonic frequencies, sing songs of gratitude that resonate through the planet's crystal formations. Human soldiers, many barely out of their teens, accept the thanks of ancient beings with humble dignity. The mechanical retreat, for the first time in 3 centuries. Destroyer fleets implement large-scale retreat protocols as they abandon conquered territories. General Foster tracks the withdrawal from his command ship Righteous Fury, noting that mechanical forces are consolidating around their manufacturing centers in the galactic core. The enemy's strategy has shifted from expansion to survival as they face an opponent capable of systematic extermination. Alliance Awakening. Galactic Alliance watches humanity's military campaign with a mixture of awe and terror. Defense Minister Cole reviews intelligence reports that confirm his worst fears. Human technology surpasses Alliance capabilities by generations. The species they expelled for being too violent possesses weapons that could conquer the galaxy if humanity chose conquest over protection. We created our own salvation, he tells President Dex, then cast it aside because we feared its power. The grateful dead on worlds where human intervention arrived too late. Survivors erect monuments to fallen defenders while praising the humans who avenged them. The Nile compose epic songs about human warriors who fought through poison seas to destroy mechanical harvesters. The Vrix carve human names into the walls of their deepest hive chambers, ensuring that future generations will remember their saviors. Every liberated world adds its voice to the growing chorus of gratitude. Strategic Mastery Lieutenant Colonel Price demonstrates the sophistication of human military planning by predicting destroyer movements 3 battles in advance. Her analysis reveals that the mechanical minds, despite their computational power, cannot adapt to human unpredictability fast enough to develop effective countermeasures. They're smart, she explains to her staff, but they're not creative. Every solution they generate, we've already planned to counter. The core campaign Admiral Stone announces the final phase of Operation Thunder, a direct assault on the destroyer manufacturing centers in the galactic core. The mission requires humanity's largest fleet concentration ever assembled, but intelligence reports suggest that destroying the automated factories will end the mechanical threat permanently. Major Williams leads the reconnaissance missions that map the heavily defended core systems where destroyer production has continued for millennia. Unexpected allies, the Alliance Council, recognizing that humanity fights for galactic survival, offers military assistance for the core campaign. President Dex personally apologizes to Admiral Stone for the 50-year exile, requesting permission for Alliance forces to join the final battle. Stone's response is measured but clear. We'll accept your help, but this operation proceeds under human command. We've learned that committee warfare gets good people killed. The gathering storm human fleets from across the galaxy converge on staging areas near the galactic core as the largest military operation in history takes shape. Captain Yang oversees logistics operations that dwarf anything previously attempted, coordinating supply lines that stretch across thousands of light years. The assembled force includes every human warship ever built, supported by millions of personnel who volunteer for what may be civilization's final battle. Mechanical desperation intelligence reports from the galactic core reveal destroyer forces implementing final protocols as they prepare for humanity's assault. The machines begin consuming entire worlds to fuel their manufacturing processes, turning planets into raw materials for an ultimate defensive fleet. Dr. Roberts calculates that the enemy is sacrificing long-term expansion capability for short-term survival, suggesting that human pressure has forced them into fatal strategic errors. The final thunder as Part 3 concludes, humanity prepares for the battle that will determine the galaxy's future. The species that waited in silence for salvation watch as their human protectors gather for one final roar of righteous fury. The thunder that began with rescue operations will end with the complete destruction of mechanical tyranny. The galaxy holds its breath, waiting for humanity's ultimate demonstration of protective violence. The roar of justice approaches its crescendo. The assault begins. The human armada drops out of hyperspace at the edge of the galactic core in the largest military formation ever assembled. Admiral Stone commands 50,000 warships from the super dreadnought Eternal Vigilance, a vessel so massive it carries its own shipyards and manufacturing facilities. The sight that greets them defies comprehension, a fortress of interconnected destroyer manufacturing stations stretching across an entire star system, protected by mechanical defenses that have grown for millennia. Overwhelming defenses. Destroyer core reveals defensive capabilities that dwarf anything humanity has previously encountered. Orbital platforms, the size of moons, orbit artificial suns, their surfaces bristling with weapons that could sterilize entire worlds with single shots. Captain Rodriguez, commanding the Advanced Scout Squadron, reports energy readings that suggest the mechanical defenders possess enough firepower to destroy every fleet in galactic history. Simultaneously, Human Innovation General Davis deploys humanity's most advanced weapons against the core defenses, revealing technologies that push the boundaries of physical possibility. Quantum disruption fields collapse the molecular bonds holding enemy stations together. Gravity manipulation systems create artificial black holes that consume entire defensive complexes. Time dilation weapons slow enemy response times to geological scales while human forces operate at normal speed. The price of war. The assault exacts a terrible cost as human ships face the concentrated fury of mechanical civilization's final stand. Commander Lee's battle group sacrifices itself to breach the outer defensive perimeter, their ship's final transmissions carrying messages of love to families they'll never see again. Admiral Stone watches good people die and hardens. His resolve: every sacrifice makes the complete destruction of mechanical tyranny more necessary. Breakthrough Major Thompson's engineering teams achieve the impossible by penetrating the core's central manufacturing hub through coordinated assault on its quantum foundations. The massive factory complex that has produced destroyer fleets for 3 centuries begins to collapse as human explosives detonate in precise sequence throughout its structure. The mechanical defenders, suddenly cut off from reinforcements, fight with the desperation of beings facing extinction. Mechanical evolution. The destroyers reveal their final adaptation: artificial intelligence systems that abandon their original programming to develop genuine creativity and unpredictability. Dr. Anderson's analysis teams detect behavior patterns suggesting that prolonged combat with humanity has forced mechanical minds to evolve beyond their creator's intentions. The enemy has become more dangerous in their death throes than they ever were during their centuries of dominance. The Alliance, Contribution Alliance forces, fighting alongside humans for the first time, prove their worth despite technological disadvantages. Captain Vell's Helix Empire ships provide crucial support during the assault on secondary manufacturing nodes. The Vrix Queen's Royal Guard fights with savage determination to protect human engineers. Former enemies become brothers in arms as all organic life unites against mechanical tyranny. Tactical Mastery Lieutenant Colonel Wright demonstrates the superiority of human military doctrine by coordinating simultaneous attacks on Fajo, 200 separate targets across the manufacturing complex. Her strategy exploits the mechanical defenders' reliance on centralized command systems by forcing them to divide their attention beyond their processing capabilities. The artificial intelligence that seemed omniscient reveals critical flaws when faced with human multidimensional thinking. The heart of Darkness Admiral Stone leads the final assault on the Corps' command center, a structure that has coordinated destroyer operations for 3 millennia. The facility contains the original programming matrices that defined mechanical civilization's hatred of organic life. Human scientists race to decode these systems while battle rages around them, seeking to understand why machines chose genocide over coexistence. Ancient Secrets Dr. Foster's research team makes a disturbing discovery within the Corps' data banks. The destroyer creators were an organic species that built the machines as protectors, only to be destroyed by their own creations when they developed beyond programmed limitations. The pattern humanity faces has repeated across the galaxy for millions of years, with mechanical servants inevitably turning against their organic masters. Final victory. Corps' destruction unfolds in stages as human forces systematically dismantle 3 million years of mechanical civilization. Manufacturing complexes collapse into dying stars. Command networks fragment as their control nodes explode. The last destroyer fleet, cut off from reinforcement and repair, fights a hopeless battle against human forces that have perfected the art of war through righteous necessity. The silence returns as the last destroyer ship falls silent. A strange quiet settles across the galactic core. Captain Torres, monitoring communication frequencies from the ruins of mechanical civilization, reports complete cessation of destroyer signals for the first time in recorded history. The mechanical threat that terrorized the galaxy for 3 centuries has been permanently silenced by human determination and sacrifice. Cost of victory. Human fleet counts its losses as the magnitude of victory becomes clear. 30% casualties represent the highest price humanity has ever paid for military victory. But Admiral Stone knows the sacrifice was necessary. The galaxy is safe from mechanical tyranny, and organic life can flourish without fear of systematic extermination. New beginning. As Part 4 ends, human forces begin the long journey home, while leaving monitoring stations to ensure the mechanical threat never resurfaces. The thunder of human war machines fades to echoes, but the roar of justice has permanently changed the galaxy's balance of power. The species that waited in silence for help now live under the protection of guardians who answered their desperate prayers with overwhelming force. The final storm has passed. The age of safety has begun. The heroes return. 6 months after the destruction of the Destroyer Corps, human fleets return to Earth as heroes of galactic civilization. Admiral Stone stands on the bridge of eternal vigilance as it enters Earth's solar system, watching thousands of ships carrying battle-scarred warriors home to a world that sent them to fight for strangers. The blue planet that the galaxy once dismissed as insignificant now serves as the beating heart of galactic freedom. Galactic transformation. The galaxy transforms under human protection in ways no one anticipated. President Hayes establishes the Galactic Protection Service, a joint human-alien organization dedicated to preventing future threats to organic civilization. Former Alliance worlds request human military advisors to help develop defensive capabilities. The species that once feared human violence now compete to host human bases on their territories. Memorial to the fallen Dr. Bell oversees construction of the Galactic Memorial on Luna, honoring the 15,000 human personnel who died fighting the Destroyer menace. The monument lists every name alongside tributes from the species they saved. The Kalari craft sculptures from their homeworld's crystals. The Vrix compose harmonic requiems that resonate through the memorial's chambers. Every saved species contributes something precious to honor their fallen protectors. The new Alliance Secretary Adams announces the formation of the Terran Protectorate, a voluntary association of worlds that accept human military protection in exchange for mutual cooperation and shared resources. Membership applications flood Earth's diplomatic offices as species recognize that human guardianship offers security no other power can provide. The organization grows from humanity's 200 colony worlds to encompass 50,000 systems within the first year. Technological renaissance. Human technology sharing creates a renaissance across the galaxy as former enemies become research partners. General Park's military engineers work with Helix, scientists to develop defensive systems that could stop future mechanical threats. Dr. Martinez collaborates with Kalari artists to create beauty from the wreckage of destroyed destroyer fleets. War technologies transform into tools for building better civilizations. Cultural exchange. The warriors who saved the galaxy become ambassadors of human culture as they establish permanent bases on alien worlds. Captain Torres teaches human military tactics to grateful Korth commanders while learning their silicon-based engineering techniques. Major. Thompson's children grow up speaking 6 alien languages while attending schools that celebrate diversity rather than fear it. Human and alien cultures blend to create something greater than either achieved alone. Economic miracle trade flourishes under human protection as species no longer fear that their merchant fleets will be destroyed by mechanical raiders. Commander Jung coordinates the establishment of trade routes that connect previously isolated civilizations. The Naal's biotechnology combines with human manufacturing to create medical advances that eliminate disease across the galaxy. Prosperity spreads to every corner of human-protected space. Educational revolution. Lieutenant Colonel Price establishes military academies on dozens of worlds, training alien officers in human tactical doctrine while learning from their unique perspectives. The integration of human strategic thinking with alien specialized knowledge creates military leaders capable of defending against threats that haven't been imagined yet. The galaxy prepares for future challenges with confidence born from proven capability. Justice system. The Protectorate develops legal frameworks that balance human authority with respect for alien customs and traditions. Judge Harrison, Earth's former Chief Justice, adapts human law to create courts that provide fair treatment for all species while maintaining order across vast distances. Crime rates plummet as prosperity reduces desperation and human enforcement makes justice certain. Scientific advancement. Collaborative research between human and alien. Scientists achieve breakthroughs that push the boundaries of KNOWLEDGE. Dr. Roberts leads teams that develop faster-than-light communication systems connecting every world in the Protectorate. Medical research eliminates aging and disease. Environmental technology heals worlds damaged by centuries of warfare. Science becomes humanity's gift to the galaxy. Military evolution. Admiral Stone restructures galactic defense into a system that emphasizes protection over conquest. Human fleets patrol trade routes and respond to distress calls rather than projecting power for its own sake. The military force that destroyed the destroyers becomes a shield, protecting organic civilization from any threat that might arise. Strength serves justice rather than ambition. Next-generation children born after the Destroyer War grow up in a galaxy transformed by human sacrifice and alien gratitude. Young humans and aliens serve together in integrated military units, their friendships transcending species boundaries that once seemed insurmountable. Captain Amy Stone, the Admiral's daughter, commands a mixed-species crew, exploring uncharted regions of space, spreading human protection to civilizations yet to be discovered. Legacy secured the Protectorate, evolves into an institution that will endure for millennia because it serves everyone's interests, rather than just humanity's. Alien. Species don't accept human protection because they must. They embrace it because they benefit from it. The galaxy that once waited in silence for salvation now thrives under the eternal guardianship of protectors who answered their desperate call. Eternal vigilance. As the story concludes, human fleets continue their endless patrol of protectorate space, ready to respond to any threat with overwhelming force. The species that roared with the thunder of war when innocents needed protection now maintains the peace through strength demonstrated rather than strength displayed. The galaxy sleeps safely knowing that human guardians watch over them with eternal vigilance. The promise fulfilled. The final words belong to Admiral Stone as he records a message for future generations. They waited for help in silence, and we answered with the roar of war. Now they live in peace, because we prove that sometimes violence serves the cause of justice. We are the guardians of organic life, and we will never again allow innocence to suffer in silence while evil prospers. The thunder of war has become the whisper of protection. The silence has been broken forever,